what's this about your joints now? You can't roll them like Seth Rogen?
I mean, that guy is so good at rolling joints. Like that's the thing. But I don't understand how he does it. And a lot of people do it this way, where they'll roll the paper with the weed, with the dry herb in it, without the filter. And then once they're done and they've got it, all wrapped up, then they'll like pop the filter in. I don't get how that fucking works. I have to do everything all. It has to be all together all at once, and it doesn't come out great. Like. I mean,
is it a physical like hindrance, or is it a mental thing where you just like your neuroses say you have to do this together?
I think it's neuroses. Yeah, a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say it's a little bit of both. A little bit of both. But like, I don't roll terrible joints. I roll short little fatties. That's the problem. What? What?
No comment. I'm trying this new thing where I don't insult every little thing you say, and you're making it very difficult.
You're trying to be tactful? I see. Well, sir.
This is going to be a really short episode. Short and fat, like your joints.
I am excited about this thing. I just got it today.
What'd you get?
I got an incense burner for my office. Because I have the other one that I was showing off, but I kept transporting it between my living room and here. I was like, I'm burning so much incense. Might as well just have another thing for it.
Smoke smarter, not harder, my friend. Exactly. Let me see that again. Take a look. Oh, it's a little leaf.
Yeah, it's a little leaf. Let me try and get the light on that.
Yeah. That's cool. And then, it looks like the incense goes in and becomes the stem of the leaf.
Yeah. I mean, the stem is there. It's just...
Oh, it is? Okay, I couldn't see it because your thumb. Okay.
Yeah. The stem is there. It just goes... Whoop. Whoop. So, yeah.
Don't ever do that again.
It was so sensual.
That was such a sensual hand motion. I haven't recovered from last week, by the way. I'm still thinking about your commercial voice.
Oh, yeah?
For the weed heights.
Weed heights. Brought to you by Drunk Thoughts and High Opinions.
Integrity weed.
Oh man, if only Trey Parker and Matt Stone were fucking aware of us. That would be the dream.
Gangbusters. Speaking of weed, what are you smoking tonight?
I am smoking the rest of my sativa mandarin cookies mixed with a little bit of pink kush.
Oh, you're mixing it?
Mixing it with it was just the end of my the last crumbs of pink kush.
Just the remnants. All right, well, you light that up, and I'm gonna introduce ourselves. Get the introductions out of the way. Welcome to this week's episode of Drunk Thoughts and High Opinions, the show where two drunken dullards, one drunken dullard and another high-minded
stoned fucker.
There's no alliteration there. I like alliteration. Stoned son of a bitch. That works.
That does technically work.
Technically. Anyway, Drunk Thoughts and High Opinions, the weekly podcast that talks about God knows what while inebriated. I am your drunk Thoughts host. One of these days, I'm going to get that right.
You can just call yourself Drunk Thoughts. I am Drunk Thoughts.
I, though?
Yeah, I call myself High Opinions. I'm Graham. I'm High Opinions.
But you're also pretty high-minded. You're egotistical. Anyway, I'm your Drunk Thoughts, Corey Rokes.
I am High Opinions, Graham Stedniewski.
We gotta reduce the syllables in that last name. There's too many goddamn syllables.
I know, there's just too many. There's too many cooks. You know,
too many cooks
you know what they say, too many cooks will spoil the broth, but that's not the American way. Did you ever watch that? You've seen that Too Many Cooks video. I think I've shown it to you, but
you send me so much weird shit.
I swear I swear I've actually shown it to you in person, not just sent it to you. Too many cooks. It's like it was a 2014 Adult Swim video that was a introduction. It was like the
if you say
intro
Tim and
credits.
Eric, I'm going to leave this call.
It was the intro credits to a TV show, and the intro credits never end. It's a 14-minute video of it just keeps going on the intro credits. They keep introducing characters, and it keeps changing what the show is. It like goes from like a really shitty kind of Full House 80s comedy sitcom, and then jumps into like like animated show and like British posh show, and then it like a serial murderer show, and then a sci-fi in space show. It like goes all over the place, but it's always the same kind of like 80s intro credits where people would like turn and smile at the camera. Whenever it's introducing
Charles in charge.
Yeah, exactly. So Tim and Eric, sorry, it's not Tim and Eric. It's not Tim and Eric. It's not. It's just Adult Swim.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Eric and Tim?
But Too Many Cooks. Too Many Cooks is one of my favorite things of all time. It will never not make me smile. That video has so many twists and turns, like the halfway through when it becomes meta and like one of the cast members of the show starts murdering the other ones while they're being introduced, and then like a woman is running around and her name is and the golden name on her like thing is following her where she goes. So it's like always in front of her, and then whenever they try to introduce the guy who's playing the murderer, the name just like appears in static. It's a very meta episode.
That's like a weird turn.
It's a fucked up thing, but the crux of it is that the intro just never ends. And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Too many cooks, too many cooks, well, too many cooks.
Graham has clearly hit his limit for the evening already, and we're only 6.5 minutes in, folks. Buckle up. It's going to be one of those nights. Christ. What have you been up to this week, Graham? Besides watching videos from 8 years ago.
I mean, I haven't watched Too Many Cooks in like a year, but I've been mostly, excuse me, working on, school.
God, you think you haven't smoked weed before?
Got me right there. I have been doing some very interesting stuff in my black and white photography. Stuff that some grad students were calling advanced shit, and my instructor got so excited. I've literally never seen this instructor get that excited. And this is a person who gets excited, like a person who's like naturally very excited about, oh, you're doing such good work. I really like this. I've never seen this person like go from a natural 7 all the time to just 12. Skipped over 11. This was pure excitement of just
I feel like if you're exciting your professors, there might be another conversation to be had here, or a really good website you can post some videos to.
It was the photos I've been taking. I've sent it to you, but what I've been doing is motion. Well,
hey
blurred
Graham,
photos.
do you have a website we can go look at them at? Shameless plug.
I will be posting these to Mad Musings once I am done. But what I've been doing is I've been playing a lot with motion and low shutter speed on my camera. And of course, you as a camera buff know that when you turn down the shutter speed, the lens is exposed to light for longer, and therefore the images are more blurred if they are moving.
Yeah,
that's just science, baby. So I've been playing around with that, and I've also been playing around with tricks in the printing bay, in the enlargement darkroom. Printing multiple negatives onto one piece of RC paper, which is a very fun exercise, I should say. You are going in completely blind. You are using one negative, exposing it to a certain amount of light, and then taking a completely other negative, getting that into position, and praying that it's going to look cool when it comes out. And so far, I have been able to make some really interesting multiple negatives printed onto each other.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. They're pretty dope.
I'm really excited about it. I actually
one that looks. You got like 3 prints of you in front of a fence.
Mm-hmm.
and it looks really ethereal, kind of like a man lost in time, like glitching into our presence.
Yeah.
Or just a ghost, but
Yeah.
I like to think of the former, just because, well...
That's the way I like to think of it visually. Obviously, for the point of why I'm doing these photos is for a final project in my class, and the whole point about it, for me, is showing the writer's process. And so that photo is going to it represents kind of the being all over the place and trying to having ideas and then jumping from that idea to the next one and to the next one and feeling like you're representing multiple iterations of oneself. And another way I'm representing that is I took a photo of myself and a photo of a friend in the exact same position, and then I just like I said, I printed them together onto one, making it one person, and it's really trippy. It looks like we have three eyes, but one of the eyes is really faint because my friend, her head is just very slightly smaller than mine. And so when I was printing it, our heads didn't completely match up, but our left eyes did. So when you're looking at the photo, it looked like this. These are matched up, but then these eyes are not, and so you can just see the faint shadow of another eye, kind
of like on the bridge of your nose.
It's and then the noses are just slightly off. It's really cool. I'm really excited about it. I never thought that I would be so excited about film photography, like real original film photography. But this is really fun. I have to say,
cool.
It's just so exciting. What about you, man? What are you up to?
Destroying my liver one drink at a time.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Pretty much everything something I do every night there, Pinky. Beyond that, worked pretty hard over the last couple weeks. Got a little nice bonus check, and so I spent that money on hockey equipment. And I am playing hockey for the first time tomorrow night, Saturday the 19th, at 9:30 or 9 o'clock p.m. from 9 to 10:30 for the first time since 2008.
Damn, when you were 19.
Not even. I didn't even turn 19 yet. So it's been 14, 15 years since I've last played hockey, and this is going to be interesting. I play goalie in hockey. I was and am a goaltender. So, and I've kept up with my skating. I've skated a lot in the last couple of years, so I'm pretty comfortable with my balance and my skates. But this is the first time I've fully suited up in pads since 2008. So this is gonna be an interesting time.
You're gonna go for it.
I'm gonna go for it. I spent like $800 on used and new pads. I have a very thick cup because that's just necessary.
Yep.
When you got a piece of hard rubber coming at you at 100 miles an hour. And
you got to be prepared for everything.
Yes, sir. So that's what I've been doing the last couple weeks is just hitting up a lot of the used and new hockey stores here in the Minneapolis area, just trying to find equipment. So I'm happy to say I've got some. I have my girlfriend coming to town. She's going to watch me play and or take me to the hospital if things go south.
My money is on the latter.
Me too.
So I really want that to happen because I'm putting money down.
Thanks.
Am I a psychopath?
Well, we knew that before that whole story was conveyed. Beyond that, still just playing some God of War. I'm probably about a quarter into it. So I don't think I'm where you're at. So we're.
No. I think you've gone beyond me. I've been relaxing with other games, just like with anxiety and stuff. Like sometimes an intense story like that can weigh on you, and so it's good. It can
weigh on you. I'm just like, this is fun.
Like I said, when you have anxiety. Intense anxiety like me, it can weigh on you. That kind of story, especially the one that Kratos and Atreus are going through, and the dynamic that those two share. So sometimes, especially during the middle of the week when I'm very busy and a lot of stress is weighing on me, and I only have an hour or two to play a game. I have been like relaxing with other games, games that don't have a story, things that are mindless where I can build and farm and, you know, stuff like Minecraft or Stardew Valley, you know.
So what part of the story is giving you anxiety in broad strokes? Is it Kratos?
It's not the story in general. It's just the fact that there is a like very, very like focused story, and you have to be there for it. And with my intense anxiety, sometimes my mind can like seriously wander when that is happening, and it needs to be on a day where I'm like, you know what? I'm here for it. My mind's not like on anything else. This is what I want to do. Because there are often days where it's like, my mind is like definitely thinking about 5 other things, and I don't want to miss. I really don't want to miss this game. Like, I don't want to force myself to play, 4 hours of the game when I'm stressed out, and then I forget what was happening during that time because my mind was thinking about other stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what are the other games you playing or anything on the horizon?
Well, I decided to check out the new Pokemon games.
So what is that? Violet and Scarlet?
Yeah, I got Scarlet.
Okay.
I usually just get one of the new ones. I'm not going to play both.
Like a normal person? Yeah,
exactly. And usually I get the opposite one of what my brother gets, because we neither of us grew up with the game, but we kind of both got into it like in our late teens, early 20s. So we kind of found it together and we're like, hey, this is something we can like trade Pokemon. If we play on opposite games, we can trade the ones that are special and stuff like
exclusive
that.
To edition, yeah.
Exactly. So that's usually like my determining is like, I don't care what one is better. That's subjective. People can say like, this one's better because it has this Pokemon. It's like that doesn't matter. Like, that one Pokemon is not the make or break of that game. They're both the same fucking game. It's just that like they put a giant fucking price tag on both of them for a few tiny differences. It's
negligible.
Yeah. This is interesting. I was reading about this today because, as I said, I haven't known. I didn't grow up playing Pokemon. I kind of, had this weird stigma. I had this weird stigma against it, so I didn't know a lot about it. I was reading about it today. Did you know that it is it's estimated to be the highest grossing media franchise of all time? More so than Mickey Mouse. And Mickey Mouse has been around since 1928. 1996 versus 1928. They estimate that Pokemon, through all its different things, through video games, through TV shows, through toys, through cards, through all that, has made about $120 billion since 1996. They think that Mickey Mouse, not Disney, the franchise of Mickey Mouse has made
I totally believe that.
About $80 billion since 1928.
Yes. Sorry, I thought you were comparing it to Disney.
No. Mickey Mouse, the franchise, not Disney's franchise.
Mouse, the
Mickey Mouse franchise. And all the characters around Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Pluto.
No,
and
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Because, so I did grow up with the franchise. I remember when Pokemon dropped, and it was, the age of blue and red. Because that's what the States got. We got Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Red. And I remember that shit dropping. And holy shit, fuck, was that just like a time to be alive for video games. Yeah. That game was so epically huge on the Game Boy. And then they dropped the card game, which my dad still likes to pester me about how I got sucked into the marketing scheme that they brought up. I mean, what a brilliant marketing scheme. Literally everything in the name. Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
That was their tagline. And holy shit, like, it just inspired, quote unquote, inspired kids like myself.
Yeah.
To just, you got to go out and get the cards because you have to have every single one. You have to collect it all. You have to have everything. And it just put kids like me in a frenzy. I was, 96, I was 7. By the time it really became popular, I was like 8 or 9. And, so 8, 9, 10, 11, my formative years was just full of like, I gotta get everything Pokemon. Like, everything was all about Pokemon. I gotta get the games. They had Pokemon Snap, which I loved because it was a camera-based video game on the N64, and then you had the Pokemon Stadium games, and it was like, holy shit, I could bring my Pokemon onto the N64 and fight in 3D. Holy goddamn shit, this is fucking amazing. Oh, God. It was nuts. And so, yeah, I completely can believe that Pokemon has earned more money than Mickey Mouse in terms of character-to-character franchise.
Well, when I was at first surprised, but then I took into consideration playing cards and toys, plus a over 1,000 episode anime.
Yep.
Those three things alone, and the fact that they make the same game and charge you twice for it.
Yeah. Sometimes three times.
Sometimes three times.
Sometimes they're like, hey, here's blue and red. Enjoy it for a couple months. And then they're like, and now guess what? We've got Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah. And
it's another color.
We combined the two games. Oh, you mean the game that was the two games that were the same game already?
Yeah. They've done that like however many times, and then they've gone back and they're like, "Hey, we're re-releasing that same game, but it's just updated." They've remastered a bunch of them, like, oh my god! And then and people are gonna fight me on this, but at the end of the day, these games are all basically the same.
Yeah.
You start with your starting Pokemon, you go out in the world, and you just try to collect however many there are on that roster, plus whatever the back roster is. You might run into a team of ne'er-do-wells that, run across your path, or maybe a foe or a rival, and you're just trying to... And, it's got the same core mechanics.
Yeah.
Throughout. And granted, yeah, a lot of games you could argue a lot of games are like that nowadays. Like even Zelda or Mario is the same. It's just, platforms or something. But
yeah,
that formula hasn't really, at least some of the newer Mario games have kind of innovative, like Super Mario Odyssey or Galaxy. Galaxy was super innovative and fun at the time. But only recently, only in the last 2 or 3 generations of Pokemon games, have they really started branching out beyond that formula? And it's not even that much. It's like, oh, well, now it's just more open world. Or what was that? Pokemon Arceus was not the same style of game. It was much more, I don't even know. It was different. I remember that much.
It was more open world. It was not an open world game, but it was more open world. It was a sandbox Pokemon, so to speak, where you were not you didn't have an objective. From what I understand, you didn't have an objective story in the sense that the other ones are, where it's oh, you got to go and complete all the gyms and then fight the grandmasters, or the master trainers. I don't know what it is, but the
Elite Four is
the Elite Four. That's
title for them, but who knows what they're called now?
But that's the thing is in Arceus, it was we're just going to let you explore this world, and it was basically a Pokedex game. It was a full market price Pokedex game. But they tried something
made the
new.
Other games fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to just bare bones strip it and just give you the basics.
I'd argue that they took what I find to be the most exciting part of Pokemon, and they took out all the
bullshit.
Really bullshit story. And this is... Okay, so this is something I noticed today. Rolling another joint, that's why my head is popping down here. But I really noticed something when I was playing through Scarlet today. I got... basically through the first half of the tutorial, I'd say, in Scarlet. And the first thing I noticed, or one of the first things I noticed here is, and this is what happens in every single Pokemon game. It always has been like this. They always have a rival for your character. There always is a rival kid.
Gary.
Who is supposed to be your friendly rival. It's supposed to be we're friends, but we're competitors. And it's it's supposed to be friendly. And the problem with the dynamic and how they've set it up is that that's what they want, and it's never what you get, because the people or the characters that they make to be your frenemy are so awful, such shit people that they seriously give you homicidal thoughts. because they're not friends. They just straight up torment you. And are like, oh, you did okay then. Well, guess what? I'm gonna ass rape you now. And it like that's what this game does. Is you have?
Are you sure you bought the right game?
They always have they give you the very first Pokemon battle you do is with this rival or the frenemy that I'm talking about.
Yeah, usually choose what you want, and then the rival chooses the opposite.
Yeah.
Tries to wipe the floor with you.
Exactly. Well, what they did here was that they give you the first battle. And they choose the worse one. So I chose the water Pokemon. They chose the fire one. So I decimated immediately. And then they let you explore. You do like another few things. You explore a little bit, and you meet back up right at the end of like the first half of the tutorial. And she's like, "All right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna go again." And they did some fucking bullshit. Some serious fucking bullshit in this fight. You're familiar with, like, in the previous games, I think in Sword and Shield, and also the, like, generation right before that, where they had the Pokemons get really powered up.
Yeah, there was, like, a Alola form, or no, there was, like, an X Evolve or something, like a Super Saiyan form that they could take on temporarily.
Yeah, exactly. So, they've had those basically since, like, 2008, I'd say.
I don't even think it's that old.
Maybe 2013.
15.
I think it was in Pokemon X and Y, so that was probably like 2014.
Okay, that's fair.
So, yeah, I remember them having that there. But they've always had it be like, okay, once that Pokemon gets powered up, they do like 3 or 4 attacks, and then they go back to normal. They did some bullshit here. So you wipe the floor with their first Pokemon, the one that they choose at the beginning that's, worse than you. And then they bring in this, like, Super Saiyan, like, lightning bolt thing that just spams the exact same attack over and over and over again. And just 1 or 2 shots all of your Pokemon. And you can't do anything about it because you like do minimal amounts of damage, or it just does all the damage to you all at once, and you can't heal because as soon as you heal, they'll just do damage to you again, and if they do damage to you again, you're dead. There's no winning in this situation. There's no way to like actually win the fight. It was so fucked.
Scripted?
It was not scripted. I looked it up and they were like, "Oh yeah, you just have to make sure that you have like Pokemon that are not like gonna die to lightning." I was like, "Are you
damage spike?"
I was like,
what's that called?
Difficulty spike.
Difficulty. There you go. I knew it started with.
But it was like for no reason. It was still the middle of the tutorial. Just like, we're gonna fuck you right now. Very unnecessarily, and because Pokemon is so slow paced in terms of like, throwing your Pokemon out, and like, every action is like 10 seconds of animation and text scrolling. Because there's all that going on, you're getting more and more frustrated every time you lose a Pokemon because you're going one by one through 6 Pokemon. It was some serious bullshit. I did not like it. So every Pokemon for me is, and this one is as well, 7.5 out of 10. Every Pokemon for me is a 7.5 out of 10. They accomplish what they set out to do. They tell a very basic story. You catch pocket monsters, as they're originally supposed to be called. Pokemon is pocket monsters. You catch some pocket monsters. You gotta catch them all. And then you go home, and that's it. Like, that's what Pokemon is. It's not trying to accomplish anything else, and it can't be a 10 out of 10 when it's not trying to accomplish a 10 out of 10. It's the best of what it wants to be, which is
this one,
which is a B.
I've heard. I've been reading some of the reviews on this, the new games, Violet and Scarlet, and they're not great. I'm hearing there's a lot of bugs in this game.
Yeah,
and the
I have heard that too.
Issues, and it's like, so here, they're, even at their best, they're not shooting for a great score. But now it's like, Game Freak or Nintendo, they're publishing a game that's half cooked.
Yeah,
that's not good.
No,
but, going back to your difficulty spike, that harkens all the way back to Yellow when Because in Yellow, obviously, the whole shtick with that one was you started with an electric Pokemon, Pikachu, I think it was called. And
You think?
yeah, right. The first gym you go to is a rock-based gym, which lightning does shit to rock. And so anybody who played Yellow and just played it like with naivete and was just like yada yada yada, like just played first like 2 hours of the game, you'd get to that gym and just get your ass kicked because your little Pikachu does fuck all to these two rock type Pokemon.
Yeah.
And so so anybody who's been around since the beginning, that what you have to do, or at least what I did, was there's a forest between the starting town and the first gym that you go into, and you got to catch yourself a little something that you can evolve and level up to use for grass type, and that's what wipes the floor with for against a rock. But it was like, yeah, you hit that difficulty spike right off the bat in Yellow, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, Pikachu sucks dick.
Yeah. Well, this was exciting. And apparently, at first, it was only going to be for pre-orders, but they've just done it for anybody who buys the game. Before February 23rd, I think. If you buy one of the new Pokemon games, they automatically gift you with a Pikachu when you get to the end of the first part of the tutorial. So when you get to the city, you can go online, they gift you a Pikachu as a thank you, because I don't think Pikachu is actually in the game, so they're just here's a thank you for buying the game early.
And it could be coinciding with the I think I saw an article, Ash in the anime, the character of Ash just became the world's greatest trainer finally after 30 years
in the lore or something. Yeah,
in the lore, he's now just the world's greatest trainer after trying for so many years. So that might be to coincide with that whole thing, because Pikachu's his buddy.
Could be
this fucking 10-year-old kid perpetually just making little critters fight to the death, whatever,
because that's how TV works. I won't. Never mind. I won't get into this now. I was going to say that it's something to do with Big Mouth, how they are actually aging the kids up very slowly, but they are.
Well, they reference it too, and they're like, "What's wrong with Bart Simpson? That kid's been 14, or been 12 or 30 years."
Yeah, exactly. But I love what they're doing, but that's not what we're talking about here.
We will talk about Big Mouth, the new season.
I know. Yeah, we will. But. Yeah, I'm not asking for Pokemon to be anything more than what it is, a game where you catch pocket monsters in little balls.
It's a fun RPG.
It's a fun
figuring
RPG.
out what works against other enemies, and
this
worlds
game,
are pretty rich and in depth.
This game does have a really cool concept that I really am excited about, and I'm a big RPG fan. I'm a really big fan of having teams with special abilities and stuff like that, and using them to best of my ability. Mm-hmm. That's why I love Final Fantasy. They did a thing in this game that I really like. I'm really excited about it, especially for late game. Is you can there's a computer where you can train your Pokemon in different abilities, so you don't have to I'm gonna lose this ability and gain this one. You don't have to make that decision anymore. You can always come back later and say I want this ability now.
So if you choose, because you can only learn 4 usually is what the Pokemon can learn, but if you choose to get rid of an ability, then this computer can bring it back if you change your mind later.
Yep, that's exactly it.
That's nifty.
It is. It's very nice.
So you don't have any regrets.
I'm very excited about it. It's not obviously has no effect on me at the beginning of the game, but once you get into late game and you're really concentrated on each member of your team being as powerful as they can be, that's going to be some spicy meat the ball.
Be like, man, I really wish I had kept that growl attack.
There you go. So there are a lot of quality of life changes. Honestly, this is the switch to an open world, the switch to more of a over the shoulder running through the world and just kind of throwing Pokeballs out and or throwing your Pokemon out to initiate the fight instead of like run around until I randomly find a Pokemon that to attack me or whatever. Like that, this is so much more exciting. Seeing Pokemon just like out and about in the world and exploring it. This is what I wanted from a Pokemon game for a long time, and so I'm very excited about it. I didn't play Arceus because I was busy and I didn't feel like it, and I'm really excited that they took a lot of what they learned in Arceus, the things that interested me about Arceus, and incorporated it into this game.
Okay.
While still maintaining the integrity of the original franchise.
I saw that. I thought the whole like, oh, if you want to initiate a fight, you actually have to like throw the Pokeball, which I thought was cool.
It's very fun.
I do like the idea of like just seeing the Pokemon out in the wild versus just random encounters, because that just definitely is more world building. So I'm sure it's a great game. I'm sure it looks like a lot of fun. I don't know. I haven't touched one of these games since like Pokemon Ruby on the Game Boy Advance back in like 2000.
Really?
What was that, like 3 or 4 when that dropped? And, well, no, I take that back. I did try to play Sun on my 3DS, and it just, I don't know. I played like I played through the tutorial basically, and I was like, eh.
Hot opinion. I think I can't remember if I had Sword or Shield, but that generation, I liked it. That's a hot opinion. I know people did not like that generation. I really liked it. It was Pokemon. Like it's hard to go wrong when it's just Pokemon. Like the only thing that I didn't like about that game was the fact that it had a lot of really good new ideas that they weren't exploring more, which they are now exploring in this game, in this generation. So like that, there was the seeds of what was happening in Sword and Shield, the open world aspects of like, oh, we're going to go from this side to this side and we're going to go through this kind of open world area to get there. That was cool. I liked that. That was a very effective way of like getting started for this. I wish that they had just taken more time and done this back then. Like this feels. I think I heard somebody say this about Arceus. It felt like 3 or 4 years too late. Like this idea should have come out 3 or 4 years ago, and that's exactly what Scarlet and Violet are. Is this should have been what the last generation was, and it wasn't. And so they are either going to perpetually be about 4 years behind, or they need to seriously catch up and figure out how to make this franchise come into this generation of gaming and not be stuck in the last generation. Because these new games feel like, an Xbox 360, PS3 generation.
Yeah,
they need to be brought into the PS5 and Xbox Series. They need to be taken more seriously. This is a big franchise,
right? And like for a game, that's first party Nintendo to have the performance issues it's having.
Yeah.
That's what really worries me. Like I'm not worried about being behind, because again, it's kind of just like you're gonna get the same game no matter what. But to have a game that has such performance issues, that really concerns me.
Oh yeah.
And I hope that they drop some patches to fix that for all the people who are really devoted to this series and have sunk $60 into a game that's buggy as all hell from all considerations.
Well, I mean, I've been hoping for 3 years that they would do it. They still haven't answered my emails.
Shocker.
There's been no announcement of a Nintendo Switch Pro, but there's got to be something like it coming. And if not,
I think the OLED was what you're getting, buddy.
Yeah, I feel like it. But I swear, I think the next generation of Nintendo console is gotta be some sort of like improvement on the Switch, because they've hit golds. They don't want to. And honestly, what if I can see, this just hit me. I can totally see this happening. The Switch becoming its own series, so to speak. Like what if
like
Nintendo
its own console line, kind of like how the Game Boy.
Yeah,
You know, we had the Game Boy, and then the Game Boy Pocket, then the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, exactly. And then the DS
so
was I think the DS was originally going to be a like Game Boy DS or something like that, and then they changed it to just Nintendo DS. They had these ideas for it was the Game Boy was the handheld. Yeah, exactly like that. What if the Switch becomes that, and they do release like the Switch Pro, and it's the 4K version of the Switch
Advance.
Switch Advance. That would be great. If they did that would be awesome. And then they continued to make different consoles besides the Switch. I don't know if they would, but I have said this before. I think that Nintendo, if VR gaming really took off, I weirdly think that Nintendo might be the one, because they've always been the weird consoles. They've always been the ones who do weird stuff ahead of the curve. They always
they're the innovators.
Yeah, in weird ways, like the Wii. The Wii was doing motion sensor like long before any of the other consoles started doing it. Like the Xbox started doing it like 4 years. Xbox 360 started doing it 4 years.
I remember that E3 when Xbox and PS and Sony, when Microsoft and Sony announced motion controls for the 360 and the PS3, and they're
Nintendo's
like, "This is
just like
innovation gaming," and I go, "No, that's what the Wii's been doing for 4 years."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like, oh my god, it was so embarrassing.
And then the Wii U.
I agree with you that
the Wii U was weird. But
Wii U, I think, was a half measure where like they had the Wii, and then they wanted to do the Switch, but they were working towards it, and they realized to perfect the technology, it was going to take more time than they anticipated.
The Wii U was a beta console.
Yeah, exactly. It was the half measure between the Wii and the Switch to keep Nintendo in the conversation for console generations.
Yeah,
because if you look, like the Switch or the Wii came out in 2005, and the Switch came out 2017. I think that's 12 years. Where it's like you got to do something in there. You got companies like Sony, Microsoft cranking out higher, better consoles. Nintendo, as you mentioned, is known as the innovative video game company, coming out with new ideas.
Like we got to put out something.
We got to do something here. We can't just do nothing for 12 years while we're working on this new console. So let's combine it. Let's do a half measure, and just I think they totally expected to suffer losses, knowing that they had not such a great console, but they knew they had something on the horizon that just kept the banks rolling and kept everything alive. The franchises and such. So I don't think they put a whole lot of stock in the Wii U. Because they knew the Switch was on its way.
Nintendo's gotta consciously be taking losses on shit, because they're always doing stuff that I'm like, you're gonna take a loss on that, bud.
Do you remember the Pulse reader for the Wii?
I do, yeah. I didn't have a Wii, but I remember that.
Well, it never dropped, but they announced. Yeah. They announced it. It was a finger clip that would measure your pulse for games like Resident Evil 4, and the faster your pulse was, the more scary shit would happen because they knew you were on edge. Yeah, they've done some weird shit. I'm gonna disagree. I don't think they'll I could see them doing it. I don't disagree with you there. But.
I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think they're gonna do a Switch and then do another independent console off of that.
Okay, they're not gonna be VR. They're gonna do AR. So let me clarify. I don't think that they're gonna be the VR people. I think that they're gonna do AR. I think that they're gonna be the innovators of you've heard about the idea of because they've already. Because Nintendo owns Poke-ay-mon, they did Pokemon Go.
Niantic did that and just under the Nintendo license. But I can see Nintendo, even if it's not Nintendo, that's what I'm saying is it was somebody else, but Nintendo, it was under their name. I can see Nintendo going into VR or AR gaming more and more, and especially if Apple glasses become a thing. Apple glasses are probably going to come out next year if they announce in the next month or so. But Apple people think that Apple glasses, or there's a report that they've gone into production, or Apple VR goggles and Apple AR glasses have gone into production and will be announced soon. That's a report from a month March
ago.
or April. Apple doesn't have an announcement
window. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it'll be announced at their next, probably
like
at their next event. But I can see that if they do like AR glasses, and Apple, if they do AR glasses, they're going to be good, because Apple tends to not make a product until they know it's going to be actually good. So when that comes out, Pokemon Go on Apple AR glasses, are you kidding me? Literally, you don't have to use your phone. You're just wearing your glasses, and all of a sudden, there's a Pokemon right there.
Well, I mean, they already have that on the watch, where you if you have Pokemon Go, you can use your Apple Watch to catch Pokemon. Your watch will buzz when you're near something, and tap it, and it'll just catch it.
Sure, but with the glasses, it'll be like you're looking at your screen right up close, or it'll be the same thing as holding up Pokemon Go, the screen to see like, oh, that Pokemon's like here using the camera.
So you're not really talking about AR. You're just talking about a display.
Well, that's what
on your glasses.
That's what AR is.
Sorry, in my mind, augmented reality is where like it's not so much seeing the screen; it's seeing the Pokemon like chilling on your couch.
Yeah, that's what it will be like. In the same way that when you hold up your phone when playing Pokemon Go, it looks like you're using your camera and it looks like the image on your phone is that they're there in the world, but you're using your phone to do it.
A shit on your face.
Exactly, and it'll be the same thing with your glasses. So I can see that becoming a thing. I
can see that becoming a thing. The only question, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, is like, okay, well, how do you do that for the rest of Nintendo's franchises? How do you create a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 3 with AR?
Oh, I have no fucking idea. That's why I'm not in game development. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to get high and make opinions.
Investing in AR and VR and like putting some chips into that game, but I don't see them becoming like a forerunner with a third-party console and AR. Now VR, I could see the Switch successor being a VR-based console, like Nintendo doing a really good job with VR, the way that the Switch has done for portables. I could see them doing a virtual reality thing. I don't see AR because again, I don't see how you can do a good Mario game.
No, I think that they will do a VR console, like you say, but I think that they're going to also be very big with AR using other technology. I think they'll treat
AR kind of like they're treating mobile currently.
Yeah, exactly, like mobile phones. And once we get AR glasses from like Apple and Samsung, once we get those, then they're gonna take advantage of those hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. That I agree.
And they already I think they had, what was it, Pokemon Let's Go a few years ago. I think back in like 2018 or 2019 they had Pokemon Let's Go, which was it was like Pikachu and Eevee that were the additions, and they were basically like switched versions of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that was a hot piece of garbage.
But that's something that they tried. Didn't work, but that hasn't stopped them in the past.
No.
So
they're pretty hardy.
Yeah, exactly. Nintendo does not give up because something failed. They're not pussies. I can at least admire them about that.
Why is somebody giving up a pussy?
Because they didn't, follow through.
All right.
They didn't.
So somebody who
they didn't try.
Right. I want you to go down to the nearest. I have homework for you, Graham, on this week's episode of Drunk Thoughts and Opinions.
Do you?
I want you to go down to the local AA shelter and tell them you all quit alcohol, so you're a bunch of pussies.
Oh, your logic is flawless.
Like, just because you quit something doesn't mean you're a pussy.
That's not what I meant, okay?
Yeah, well, think before you speak, all right. Jesus. All those never mind. I'm not going to go there. That's too dark. I could go further, but I think I've made my points. So.
I think you've made your point.
But no, yeah, Nintendo they keep trying. They're definitely Thomas the Tank Engine. They think they can. They think they can, and they do until they do.
Yeah.
So. The Switch, I think, I could see them in like another 5-10 years coming out with a new iteration of the Switch, like your Switch Pro that you've been mentioning.
Yeah.
But I I don't think they'll divulge or diverge the Switch into its own console line and then have another main console line, because it's like, well, the Switch is so big, you kind of have to, like, if they're gonna hold on to that, then they have to make games that'll work on the Switch as well as that new console. Like a new Legend of Zelda, like you're gonna have to make a Switch version and then another version, and like if you're doing like a straight up VR thing, like you're gonna have to pick one or the other, or again diverge it like you would a mobile like Link's Awakening or Oracle of Seasons and Agent Zelda game versus like Ocarina of Time. And so I just don't see them doing that nowadays. Like the turnover time for these games is just so high. You can't split your team that like you could do it back in the 90s and early 2000s because it only took like a year to make a game. But nowadays it takes 4 years to make a half-baked game that they pop out with a bunch of bugs. So let's just hope they don't make that a habit, or Nintendo's going to go the way of Bethesda.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to the end of this discussion. I think I'll wrap it up on this point. I think that we've got three major players in video game distribution, and the ability to play games, I should say. So that's Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft through Xbox.
What about the Steam?
Okay, sure, yeah, through PC.
I
I was kind of putting Microsoft as like, because they make the preferred software for people playing on. But that's fair. We'll add Steam to that.
I think you need to throw Steam in there for distribution. If you're talking distributors,
yeah, okay. I was mostly talking about like people making consoles, but let's throw Steam in there. I think that they are all going to stop being so competitive soon, and here's why. I think that Sony is going to become the de facto console leader. I think that they're just going to take that place, and I don't think that it's going to be a competition. I think Xbox is going to bow out. I think that Xbox is going to start focusing on streaming. Here's why. Have you heard about their recent news about the Keystone?
No.
So the Keystone was their shelved streaming console that they made, which was they shelved it because it was too expensive. They wanted it to be a $99 price tag. They couldn't make that, so they shelved it until they can, make that happen, basically. So because Game Pass has become their biggest priority recently, and they also announced very recently that they lose money on consoles.
It's like $200 a console, isn't it?
They lose like $200 per console that they expect to make that money back on game purchases, accessory purchases, and whatever, and partnerships with companies that make other accessories even. So they make their money through the back end basically, and that's why I think that they are going to give up on making consoles or trying to be the big console maker. I think that they are going to try and slip into a de facto leader role as the king of streaming in games. I think that Microsoft is going to try and just take that role and say, we'll take this. Sony can focus more on consoles. They'll still do both, but Microsoft will just be more focused on streaming, and Sony will be more focused on consoles, and Nintendo, as always, will be focused on whatever the fuck they're doing. Steam, on the other hand, has an amazing product on their hand. We've talked about the Steam Deck before. My Steam Deck has been repaired and is being sent back to my parents' house, which I will pick up at Christmas.
Huzzah!
I will pick up at Christmas and I will have all the fucking protection in the world for it. because for the folks who don't know, I got my Steam Deck. I fell in love with it immediately, playing Final Fantasy VI.
It fell on the floor.
Yeah, and then I was sick. I was very sick. I was lightheaded, and I dropped it. And the little piece inside the Steam Deck, not the button itself, but the piece that the button connects to on the motherboard, broke. So that's not something I can repair. So I had to ship that back. And the problem is they only ship to and from the States. So I had to...
And again, for those who don't know, Graham is up in Canada.
I am up in Canada. I am just across the border. I'm literally like 6 miles from the border. But still, that's difficult. So...
He's a hooser.
And so... I had it sent back. It's now repaired. It's on its way back. I'll be picking that up at Christmas. I think that if they continue with this product, they've got something amazing on their hands. It's so cool. It's a desktop that you can pick up and play as a handheld if you want to, or really. Actually, no. It's a handheld that can be turned into a desktop. It literally.
For those who are all curious, we are not sponsored by Steam
We are
Deck,
not.
So
no, I'm just
buddy.
excited about it. I actually am thinking about in the future if they continue with it. What I want to do is instead of getting a new iMac, I want to get the Mac Studio. You know that the box. And then have 3 monitors, and I'll have the Mac Studio and the Steam Deck right next to each other, and then that will be plugged in, so I can switch between PC and or Windows and Apple.
I just want to once again reiterate to any listener that Graham is single. He's looking for love, and he's a catch.
Not where I was going with that, but sure.
Hit him up. Drunk Thoughts and High Opinions at gmail.com. No, it's just Drunk Thoughts, High Opinions, gmail.com. Well, let's find you a girl.
I'm good,
And not
thanks.
3 monitors. If you start dating your Steam Deck, it's over.
Yeah. That's where I'm at right now.
Christ.
Giving up so soon.
You're 24.
I know.
I don't want to hear it.
I know.
It's taken me, how old am I? 33? 33 years to find love. Good love.
Hate that.
Just saying, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's worth the wait sometimes to find the one that works.
I know. Anyway, bummer note to end on.
Graham's looking for love,
Fuck
everybody.
off. That's not what this podcast is. Let's get to the point.
Not yet.
Corey, where can we find you?
Where am I?
Minneapolis?
I guess. Do I have to be? You can find me on all the social medias at RoxyBoy. That's ROKESYBOY. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for however long it still lasts before Elon totally shits the bed with Twitter.
Oh yeah, Twitter's about to go under.
Twitter is self-imploding worse than fucking Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
This
you know what?
I've never seen $44 billion get burned up so quickly.
Right?
It's like gasoline.
I just see that clip from The Dark Knight of the Joker
Yeah,
riding down
literally
and
what I
lighting
was
the fucking cash on
literally
fire.
what I was thinking.
It's not about the money.
Like, Twitter was already a dumpster fire. He just spent an exorbitant amount of money to make it worse.
It's about sending the right tweets. Yeah. What about Graham? What about you?
You can find me at outrageous_creation on Instagram. You can also find my short stories, my shorter stories, and other writings of that kind at mad-musings.com.
Is everything short on that website, or
Most things are short. Yeah,
Short and
I'm
fat.
not putting any long form on there. I'm trying to save my long form for Real Publishings. I might put. I'm thinking of putting some equal time on there, so maybe people want to look out for that. Just some short stories taking place in the world of equal time, which is a thing that's very important to me. And so, yeah, we'll see.
We will definitely see. Can we find your? We need to see your photographs, though.
Oh yeah,
no,
those. And there's gonna be a shorter story to go with every single one of them. Actually, you know what? I'm thinking of doing exactly 1,000 word stories for each of the photos because you know what they say.
Don't say it.
Photos worth 1,000 words.
He said it. Christ, I'm getting old. I need to find people my own age. On that lovely sentiment, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
I'm throwing in the towel.
You're throwing in the towel? Well, I'm rolling.
I'm sick here.
I'm rolling another joint, so.
I just cracked another beer. I'm disappointed. This is a pistachio cream ale from a local brewery here in Minneapolis.
Not as good as you wanted it to be.
I had a pistachio cream ale out of Chicago. I might even have drank it on a couple episodes ago. But it was a pistachio cream ale out of Chicago that was fucking amazing. This one, no. This one's it's not. I mean, it's beer. I'll still drink it. Don't get me wrong.
You were drunker when you had the other.
But
one.
no. I drank that thing sober, drunk. Like I drank it like 3 times the next Wednesday, and it was delicious. This one, my first impression is not very high. I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, I'm sorry about that, bud.
It is what it is. Like, again, I mean, it's not horrible. It's not living up to the expectation that I was hoping for another pistachio cream ale. So it's all good. Fun news, though, if I may. Next week's episode, there is a chance I could be high.
Is there now?
I am going to a brewery on Sunday that is offering beer as well as drinks with THC in them.
Hell yeah! I will be drunk thoughts if you be high opinions.
It's 5%, so it's not like it's super.
You're
heavy.
getting a bunch of them though.
I might buy a 6-pack. We'll see. But we got Thanksgiving next week. We are coming up on the holidays, so maybe we should give cross-examinations a try. And
while we're celebrating Thanksgiving, we're all going to have to take a moment to celebrate Thanksgiving, time where we cook a Thanksgiving meal entirely with cannabis-infused butter. The more you eat, the higher you get. The higher you get, the hungrier you are.
And the better you feel.
And the more you eat.
It's such a cyclical cycle.
You get the itis.
The itis.
The itis.
Anyway, so I will keep you folks posted on that one. But I saw that this brewery offers some THC brews, and I was like, ooh, I might have to pick up like a 6-pack of that and give it a shot. For at least, we'll see if it's next week's episode or maybe the week after. But we'll do. We got the holidays coming, so I think Graham, we should try to do some fun for the holidays. Each episode have a little like uniqueness to it. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a real good idea. So,
how's your short and fat blunt going? All I see is the top of your head. I'm not going to tell you what you look like. All right. I mean, not bad. Just roll that, curl that tip up and put it in your mouth. I've seen worse joints. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. From me.
No comment. I'm gonna get you a roller for Christmas.
Oh no. I don't use rollers. This is more authentic.
Maybe you should.
You know what? Fuck you.
Fuck you too. Thanks for joining us this evening, everybody. I've been Corey Rokes, the drunk thoughts of this evening's episode.
And I am High Opinions. My name is Graham Stebniewski.
Graham Spoken Grams.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers.